Oh no, Lane, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Wrong button. All right, we are getting ready to get started. Sorry, it's been a very fun, busy day. All of us in the All Elite Zone have been putting together probably one of our most in-depth podcasts. Especially, I know myself and Ada, we have a whole list of things to talk about on this very special WrestleMania edition of the All Elite Zone. So before we get diving into our conversation and some of our favorite moments, let me introduce to you guys my favorite tag team partners. First off, we have the creator. We have the mastermind. He is the guy that designs those beautiful graphics every week. Connor, welcome to the show, buddy.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. WrestleMania, just in the comments. Yeah, WrestleMania weekend is going to be a fun. It's probably going to be one of the funnest segments, topics that we've had on here. It's great to be on.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for coming on. Adam, buddy, he is the bearded wonder. He is wearing a CM Punk shirt. He is the crazy Florida man. He's got, master's and a bachelor's degree in communications and broadcasting. He makes us sound good every week with his beautiful angelic voice. Adam, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Can everybody hear me?
Yep, you're good on our end.
Okay, this is weird, but I can't see any of your screens. That's the weird part. So I can't see any of your faces.
But yeah, you're good. We can hear you loud and clear. You're
cool.
Clear
I just can't see any of you.
Sad.
I might have to back out and then come back.
All
right, give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
All right, no worries. All right, and finally, we have one of the best bookers in fantasy booking. He is the curly-haired genius. Like, you can just see the knowledge in his floof in his hair. We have Aiden. Thanks for joining us tonight, my friend.
Thank you for having me. The hair is hairing today. I don't know what I did. I didn't do anything different.
It just looks extra nice and lovely. So, man, this is gonna be a very, very controversial episode. So looks like we have a pretty decent turnout in the chat. So make sure you guys, as we're talking about our favorite moments, also talking about a very controversial mixed opinion WrestleMania. And we'll get into that a little bit later because there's a lot going on in the last couple of days since Mania that I am surprised but not. So do you guys want to do favorite moments first, or do you guys want to dive deep into what's been going on and WrestleMania itself this week?
I think we could if you want to talk about we could talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. We can start with the good first.
All right, yeah, let's talk the good, the bad, and the ugly. But before that, we're gonna go to the chat real quick. Ethan, lovely, also always on the show. What a mania weekend. Yeah. It was a crazy week, but I think it's been overshadowed by certain news. And then also going back to my comment about Connor doing the graphics, Richie says, "Good job, Connor."
Yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone.
All right. So the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the good. So, Aiden, I will start with you. What was some of the good that you saw on Saturday and Sunday of Mania this week?
Well, is it cool if I include Friday as a part of Mania weekend? Because there's a good amount of shows.
Add Friday in, yeah, sure.
Yeah, Friday, you got Super Card of Honor, banger show. I loved that Shibata is now the pure champion. I love that he just Wheeler Yuta, he messed around, he found out. I love that. What else? I love Lucha Bros being tag champs in ROH. I think that's going to be really fun. GCW put on a few good shows. I didn't get to watch all of the matches. I mostly just stuck to Ibushi, and I also watched the Nick Gage and Maki Ito teaming up. So that was really fun. What did I like about Mania? I liked the Rhea Ripley Charlotte Flair match. I liked the Usos and KO and Sammy. And from Mania, that sounds bad to say that's about it. But
the thing is, it was a very, very interesting Mania layout for sure. I agree with you on the Usos and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I'm so glad that, here's a little fun joke for you, but I'm so glad that Sammy and Kevin escaped the Uso penitentiary. That made the whole night worth watching. Yeah, I agree with that one. What about you, Connor? What was some of your favorite things that you saw this week?
I like the Intercontinental Championship. It's probably one of the best matches on the card. Well, of night two. I think night one, night two had its fair share of good moments. Like little, just picked out what you liked, and the rest was garbage. But the main event was really good. On night one, Charlotte and Rhea Ripley was pretty good. That was pretty much it for night one and night two. The main event was good. I don't want to talk about
That's in the ugly.
Everyone says this about AEW, but they won't say about WWE. But Bubba Ray once said every fan remembers the ending of every show. Like that's what makes the show. That's what the final result of the show is. They like to do it on AEW, but now it's the reversal effect. But besides that match, the Intercontinental Championship match was good. Edge and Finn Balor was okay.
Did you see his cut? Like, did you see how many stitches and staples he had to get? Like, no wonder why they had a team come into the cell. Like, I thought, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is really part of the story. No, he literally busted his head open.
Like, it was
trying to play McFoley.
It was pretty deep. If anyone's seen the pictures on his socials,
yeah, it was the most nasty cuts I've seen in a long time in wrestling.
Everything else is kind of dull.
But I did like Edge coming out to like that Slayer.
Oh, yeah.
Was it Slayer that he came out to, or was it Metallica?
I'm not sure what he.
I think it was Slayer, if I remember correctly.
I don't know how they can say Brood, but him not coming out to the Brood music. Like it shouldn't be on the Titantron.
That was really weird about the whole like the Brood entrance. I thought his mask was cool.
It was Slayer that he came out to. Sorry, I just had to look it up.
So I thought that was really cool, but you at least gotta bring Gangrel. If you're gonna do a Brood type entrance,
please Gangrel.
The only thing that was Brood about it was that it said Brood on his Titantron.
Brood and fire.
I mean, like his entrance was really cool.
You did have a cool Brood jacket though. Did you see his jacket that had Christian and Gangrel on the back?
Yeah, that's
fair. I thought it was cool, but
Gangrel and Christian was there, just in spirit.
Just in spirit. Yeah, there you go.
But really, the only good matches were basically Aiden, Charlotte and Rhea Ripley, IC, main event tag.
I totally forgot about the IC match. I also like that one too.
Oh, that one.
Well, Edge
and
Balor was okay.
I think Finn and Balor and Edge went better if the Demon would have won, or they wouldn't have done the Demon at all, because like the Demon's supposed to be this really undefeatable being, really the only person until Joe was the only one to defeat the Demon on pay-per-view.
Yeah, he was the first one.
Yeah, but in my opinion, it was kind of a waste. And I know there's a story with the Judgment Day and all that, but for me, it felt like a waste of a character.
I feel like once the Demon character got brought into WWE, they didn't like it. In NXT, that's where it shined the most. I would say his match against Seth Rollins, the Demon, that SummerSlam was pretty good, but after that, he's never been the same. Well, not himself, but the way they booked him hasn't been the same since.
For me, the Demon hasn't been the same since he fought Roman Reigns and then flopped around like a fish on the floor and then lost when the top turnbuckle broke. That was pretty goofy. So
yeah, it was. I don't know. And did you also see that platform they built just for that spot?
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of taking the whole love, I guess, out of Hell in a Cell. It was a great match. I had a lot of fun with it.
If I was to rate it from a scale from 1 out of 10, I'd probably give it a 4 or 5. 6 being generous.
I'd say 6.5 out of 10.
6.
I feel like it did do its job. It was a good spot to help transition into the main event.
I mean, the main event was great. Just
the ending. Yeah, we'll probably discuss the ending here in a little bit. But looking at the Intercontinental Championship match, that's got to be probably my matches of the year. Like, it seriously was 3, big European dudes beating the crap out of each other. And just some of the spots in there, Gunter, he looked like a beast in that match. Adam, did you happen to watch any moments from that match at all, or see?
I watched the whole thing.
You watched the whole thing, really? Okay.
I watched the whole match. I mean, that was one of the matches I was actually looking forward to, just because of all three of who was involved in it. I'm always impressed by all three of those guys, especially someone like Drew McIntyre, who, when he came back to WWE after, reinventing himself on the indies, putting on that muscle and, growing his beard on, actually kind of like maturing on the indies. And then just seeing him putting on these matches, not only, against Sheamus, but then Sheamus and, Gunther at Clash of the Castles. And then, this triple threat match at WrestleMania. I honestly thought it was so brutal. And listening to the commentary, just all of them just quiet every time chops were coming. It just and you saw it at the end of that match. All three guys' chests were just completely bruised, completely red, and it just shows you the kind of brutes that those three are. And I'm actually glad Gunther Walter retained, because there's still longevity to his story as Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna have a great dominant run with the IC title. And to be honest with you, if I'm gonna book somebody, if it's not Cody, or if they're gonna have Roman Reigns lose both titles, I could see Gunther next WrestleMania headlining and winning that championship. He looked like a champion. He looks, compared to his NXT days, he looks incredible. He literally toned up. He looks great. He moves great. I think he almost reminds me of almost like a modern William Regal in a way. I feel like he's going to be one of the next big things, if not already the next big thing in wrestling. So
yeah, no, I agree. It goes back to my statement on Drew McIntyre, where Drew McIntyre found his shape on the indies, building up muscle and everything. Yeah. Walter went the complete opposite, dropped all that weight and got in some great conditional shape. And kind of toned up his body, not toned up to the definition of what Drew is, but literally dropped that weight to where it's just thin, and he's moving around the ring better and everything like that, and he's not gassed. You look at that, and that's the longevity of it, of the fact that the guy lasted almost an hour and 11 minutes in the Royal Rumble match back in January, and then he just has this 25 minute banger with Sheamus and Drew at WrestleMania. So it's the guy can do it, and he's always he's a Triple H boy. Hunter loves him. So, I mean, I think we're going to see him hold on to that Intercontinental title for a while.
I feel like he's making it prestige again. I feel like he's bringing something to the IC belt that we'll get into this a little later, that, my opinion, something that's been lost at the United States Championship. So I feel like Gunther is doing a great job with that. Aiden, what did you think about the match? Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it. I always Gunther, I hate calling him that, is one of my favorite wrestlers right now. I think he is the perfect big man to any other babyface. Look at his matches with Dragunov. That match is one of my favorites. Both of them actually are one of my favorites. So it's just he always steps up in big matches. He's really deserving of a world championship, in my opinion. Any promotion, regardless of promotion. He's doing great things with the IC title. That I really just only have praise for him. Sheamus has been having you would not expect he's 44, 45. He's having just banger matches, better than he's been having in the past. What else? And then McIntyre is great. Besides potential contract issues that are going on in WWE, he seems like he could easily still be one of their top guys. So
yeah, I wish he would have an actual reign in front of people, because unfortunately he won it, during the Global Bastard, so he didn't get to enjoy held that championship in front of people, and that win against Brock, especially in front of 80,000 people, would have been legendary. Looking at also one thing that I want to shout out before we kind of move on to the bad, shout out to shout out to Belair. She has defended the championship and is undefeated 3 years in a row and has retained or won the championship. So I know personally she's not one of my favorite wrestlers, but I thought that was a cool little trivia fact.
And her entrance. Does anyone know the backstory to?
I heard the backstory. But why don't you go into depth in the backstory? Because I only know a little bit about it.
So if anyone, her entrance, she came out with a group of girls that was just like her. I think the main one that she was with, her mom died that day. Like I don't know if that scheduled or not, but her mom died the day of WrestleMania of her match, and Belair came up with the idea to have them all come out for entrance. So I thought that was really good of her to do that.
Yeah,
that is class act by Bianca. But Bianca Belair has always done that. Has always been like a class act.
She's like a modern John Cena in a way.
And she looks, and like the girl looks so happy. You wouldn't have thought that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I love Bianca. Great, like I think she's really good in the ring, and I also like just enjoy seeing like what she does outside of the ring, outside of the company. She just seems like a very nice person.
She does do a lot of charity work on the outside as a representative for WWE. So yeah, no, she's got a good heart. So and she's got talent. So yeah. I mean, there's no denying that. So
could
be a mainstream star, could be huge, like a huge person for WWE to have.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of her character, but she is that modern John Cena, and I thought her and Asuka killed it. That was probably my last really notable match I can talk about was Asuka and Belair. I thought both had great entrances. Both I want both figures of the two if they can make them, or a canvas card or a canvas plaque. Like I feel like that would be a cool like souvenir for just that match in general was great. I wish Asuka would have won it, but I think in the long run, looking at Bianca, I think she's gonna be one of the best notable women, wrestlers on that roster. Or sorry, superstars, if you want to talk WWE terms. But I thought that was really cool. Like I didn't know the backstory until Connor explained it. But I liked the backstory with that entrance. I thought, that was a really special entrance. So
yeah.
All right, you guys want to talk about the bad now? We'll talk about the bad, and then we'll get into the uglies. So first one for me was the women's showcase. What in tarnation was that?
What was that? The tag team?
Yeah, like it was almost as bad as the men's.
I kind of thought that Chelsea Green carried that match, and what's her name? Sonya Deville. Yeah, Sonya Deville.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what? I agree. Chelsea did put on. I mean, when she came back, I was kind of skeptical. I was like, "What are they going to do with Chelsea?" Like, I don't get what they're doing with her character. But when her and Sonya Deville got in there and they're doing their things, and then that dive off the top rope that I didn't expect Chelsea Green to do, and the only reason she was doing it was to get away from Raquel Rodriguez. But I have no idea what that match was. I feel like it was just a match just to get Ronda WrestleMania win.
Yeah,
basically.
That's basically what it was, and I'm just like, this is the worst idea ever. Like, she just came off recently of that injury, and they're like, all right, we'll keep her out of the ring, and then, oh look, last second, put her in there, get her to put the armbar in so they can win. Like, it's just like the dumbest thing like ever.
Well, because if you look at it, then why didn't you just do like a singles match or just a normal tag match at that point? The rest of the women on that, Shotzi Blackheart did great. Chelsea Green, just putting this over, like her facial reactions, her screeches, her movement, she had definitely improved, especially with her time on the Indies and the Impact Wrestling. But then again, her husband is Matt Cardona. Her best friend is probably one of the best, women's wrestlers in the world, So it just, I'm glad that she had at least a moment with WrestleMania. But man, that finish, you literally had two wrestlers that weren't even in a match at all. Like, I swear, they were maybe one or two small spots, but then at the end have them, Baszler and Ronda come in and take the victory. Like, I thought that was very sloppy booking on a multi-man match. And I'll get into the men's match here in a little bit, but gosh, that was a waste of a match on the card where you could have had a good women's story being told. And I don't want to hear that AEW does a bad job with their women's division when obviously you had that train wreck.
Yeah, that was a train wreck. Wasn't there two? Wasn't there a six women tag, and then there was a
men's.
Was this one with Trish and Lita in it?
No, that was from night 1. This one was night 2.
That was Damage Control versus them, right?
Yeah, I fell asleep during that match, so I don't know what happened during that one.
You didn't miss anything.
Did I miss that bad? Like you have.
I mean, Trish and Lita, like they're like two of the best. Well, in WWE history, probably one of the two best legends in that entire company that really put the women's division on the map. Well, not on the map really, but they took it to the next level with their matches in the past. But besides that, it was okay, and it looks like Bailey is MIA. It looks like from what she tweeted, and time to eat.
I told her that's why I came up here to do the podcast.
Time to eat.
Still living at home sucks sometimes.
But if you guys want to eat, it's tomorrow on Dynamite. That's
dude, tomorrow.
What a segue! Oh my goodness!
Oh yeah, there you go. Tomorrow's going to be a great show. So make sure you guys subscribe now and join us for our Dynamite watch along at 7 Central.
Yeah, but Chelsea Green's always been one of my favorites. I didn't expect them to be the one that carried the match, but they did. But Natalia and Shotzi Blackheart was pretty good as well.
Shout out to Natalia. This is her 15th year in WWE. Yeah, this is her 15th. Yeah. She's been with WWE for 15 years, and finally getting doing the WrestleMania on the card is just especially with her her family history and everything like that. I gotta give a shout out to my girl Natalia. So,
dude, Natalia, like she is one of the ones I wish would have had some more time in the sun. I wish she would have another championship run, at least one more before she retires.
I felt the same way about her husband too, Tyson Kidd. I thought that guy was such a good ring. Yeah. He was so good in the ring, and then just his career ending so short. So it kind of sucks, but
I think he almost died.
He did. Yeah, he almost died.
He almost died. He was this close?
It was
a certain spot of his spinal cord or his back. And
it was a spinal cord.
Samoa Joe's pop-up power bomb.
Yep.
It sucks because he was probably one of the best in-ring technicians.
And after that, he became a complete if you don't watch Total Divas, I don't know if that was an act or what, but oh my god.
Who knows at this point? Look at the whole John Cena House Rules thing.
Yeah.
I know you guys came for WrestleMania, but now you're getting discussion about Total Divas.
Isn't it going to be in Barbie?
Yeah.
John Cena, you get cast in Barbie today.
Didn't see that now.
If we're continuing our talks about bad, let's talk about Pat McAfee.
Oh gosh, why is he back?
I don't know what's going on. I like him as a football player, but I don't know why WWE keeps bringing him back. I guess so they can make a mark out of Michael Cole, because Michael Cole just loves Pat McAfee. So I don't know. That was just bad. And then you get George Kittle involved in it. I'm like, what are we doing? This feels like the WrestleMania where freaking Gronkowski came out and freaking trucked Jinder Mahal. I was like, you're just getting football players now just involved in everything. So
I wasn't there a football player that showed up during that segment.
Yeah, George Kittle.
Yeah, George Kittle.
Yeah, 49ers. Screw George Kittle. I hate George Kittle. Sorry if my fiance is watching because she loves.
But you can't hate him because the one game that the 49ers played, Penta was there, and him and George Kittle traded off stuff. Because George is a big wrestling fan, so Penta was there, and Penta gave him the mask, Penta's mask, for 49ers. So that was pretty cool. That's my only favorite George Kittle moment is when him and
I just wanted to dick him because like he was just such a cocky, ignorant jerk during the Cowboys game. I wanted to deck him in the face because I'm a huge Cowboys fan, so I'm a little biased there. But yeah, that was I just don't. I'm not a huge. I do not like his commentating style. I think he's too over the top, too annoying. I was trying to watch the Rose Bowl this year, and he was commentating. It was just being a complete dick. Like he was, I can't stand him. Like I would rather listen to the Miz constantly on commentating.
I remember you telling me that. I remember you telling me that, and you had to cut it off. The football game.
Yeah, so it
like,
was
like he, doesn't he get on the announce table for Shinsuke? Or whatever?
Yeah, he did the whole and then he did the oh my god voice clip that was everywhere. From Busted Open to every freaking other wrestling podcast besides ours. Like, I cannot stand him. I'm sorry, this is a little tangent, but
I thought nobody liked Mauro Ranallo for that.
I'm not a huge fan of him either, but at least he knows how to commentate and actually knows how to do a range and actually be intriguing in a match. I just personally like his voice. But I'll take him any day of the week over Pat McAfee. Mike brings up a very good point. Snoop Dogg was something else, and we'll get to that when we get to the ugly because, yeah, that's we got a fun callback to a certain individual's dad during the Royal Rumble. So, what about anything else that was kind of bad for you guys? I know for me, I hated. I'm sorry. Aiden, you want to go ahead?
Oh, no, it's fine. I've just been waiting to talk about this. Just here comes the money. Here comes the money. Shane McMahon returning. And
all right. Well, we're gonna do one of my ugly segments now. Let's go.
Oh, is that your ugly segment?
That's ugly for me, dude. That was ugly for me.
Let's do it. Let's talk about it. Go.
Okay, then. That's how. Yeah, Shane McMahon returning. Thoughts, all of you guys. Thoughts.
I think he was trying to pull his dad from the Royal Rumble. You know. How to have a special WrestleMania moments.
Oh man!
Like tearing your quad,
and then he just looks up and he's just like, I saw it too. As soon as he landed and fell, I was like, oh, something's torn. Something is torn because he just collapsed on that mat, and that was not planned.
Yeah,
I'm like, this segment's going so bad and ugly right now. And then
yeah, Snoop Dogg had to save the damn thing.
I'm not gonna lie, I preferred Snoop Dogg in that one. He actually looked a little more believable than Shane McMahon.
It just sucks that you can hear the ref on a microphone saying, "Hit him with the people's elbow." Like you can hear the ref. Yeah. She's telling Snoop, "Drop the people's elbow on Miz." Like you're like, turn your mic off. We can hear you call. Yeah, that was just an ugly segment altogether. And yet you can't get someone like Bobby Lashley on WrestleMania. But you could put Shane McMahon tearing his quad.
It must be a Vince. I bet Vince booked that.
Oh, yeah.
Vince fired his own son, though. Like, he does not care.
But I don't know. McMahon twiddled his mustache and says, what does WrestleMania need?
We need a Shane McMahon.
It needs my 50-year-old son who has like 30 pairs of sneakers blowing his quads out. That's what he needs. But I'm so glad that moment happened because that was so funny. Like obviously he might be injured. That is, and it's never fun to laugh about it. But I'm laughing anyway. Like it was, I would be lying if I said I wasn't.
For me, he comes out, I'm ready to cut the damn thing off. Then the next thing I know, he's in the ring, and then bam, he's on the ground.
Oh my gosh! Like I don't want to hear anything about AEW's talent getting hurt when they have like a 50-year-old man who tears his quad just by stepping in a ring.
At least Dante went out good. Well,
at least Dante did some cool shit.
That was gonna be my ugly segment.
We'll get to the ugly in that one. I think another one for me that was just really bad was the tackling match between Osmos and Brock Lesnar.
No, man.
Or how you pronounce it. Oh my gosh, that was shits.
No, man, I'm an Homo sapien. I love that, man. It's so funny. That's my goat. That's my goat.
Like, oh my gosh. Like, he looked better. Like, I'll give him credit. He does look a lot more improved, but if I had to see another damn shoulder tackle between that match and John Cena and Austin Theory, I was gonna break my TV. And then the men's match. All I see is Braun Strowman just running on the outside and just shoulder tackling people.
Hey, honestly, that man's match actually goes into my good column because I actually did enjoy that showcase match with the men. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as the women's, but the men's had some good moments. Braun Strowman with a frog splash from the top rope. Nobody ever seen Braun Strowman do that.
Oh, and Chad Gable.
Chad Gable with the belly to back suplex. Like that's a moment. Like I honestly think Chad Gable is so underused right now as a wrestler. And I would love to see him reinvent himself on get more work on the indies too, because I think he can do that Cody Rhodes route where Cody left WWE and made it big in the indies. I see someone like Chad Gable doing that. I can see Chad Gable winning like independent titles. Like I can see that, but he's so underutilized at WWE.
There was a couple things that took it out of the match for me. Besides all the shoulder tackling. Connor and I discussed this, and whoever was in charge of this camera angle should be fired. But man. Otis, my man, I get we're men, we sweat, we work hard, we sweat more. But you probably should have kept your shirt on or had a different material, because it looked, the close up on his backside was just nasty. Like that really took me out of the match. And I'm sorry, Otis, like I'm not trying to body shame, but I think you probably should have had a different material for your attire that night. Not just cloth.
Are you talking about the Otis swamp ass?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, yeah. I'm sorry, like, but or at least don't do that direct camera angle like this. Like seriously, like you had the camera angled up. Like it probably wouldn't have been as bad if you would have done it differently. Oh my gosh, yeah.
They're like, this shot's for the ladies.
Some cameraman was like, "Oh man."
Rose.
Some cameraman was like, "Oh, my buddy's gonna love this," and he points the camera, and then the production truck accidentally cuts to it.
Yeah, like
I saw that. I'm like, that's what I did when I saw that when that camera cut to him. I was like, no.
I get you're sweating and you're having a big important match on WrestleMania, but dog, you know your body better than we do. Like if you know that it's bad, please, like wear leather. Wear something that doesn't show.
Leather would be so disgusting to wrestle in, though.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
But as a fan, you would not see. And if you're already sweating and feeling gross, anyways, man, and some creepy fan will buy it.
You didn't have to throw in that last part.
Tell me I'm wrong. But yeah, like that for me, I don't know. It was better than the women's match because at least every participant had some kind of moment in the match. So I would give it that. So I didn't rank it as on my bad list. Connor, what about you? What did you find bad?
The Logan Paul and Seth Rollins.
We're gonna get there too. I have a special spot.
The zip line. Oh my god, Bret Hart's there.
What
the hell?
Back and forth. What?
Bret Hart's literally there seeing that, and to see them do that again, that shows Vince McMahon's there. And what if the same thing would have happened? I know now though, it's like it was more safety and like. But they should strictly never, ever, 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 ever do that again. I don't want to think about that anymore.
Well, I think they're trying to pull off like Shawn Michaels. So like
he ain't gonna be Shawn Michaels.
I didn't see anything bad with it because it wasn't like being dropped.
Yeah.
It was a zip line that obviously you could see the restraints and if he did fall, it wasn't going to severely hurt him.
Yeah.
So, but it was just one of those things. It was just I have a special spot. That's why I haven't talked about that match yet. But yeah.
I don't know.
It was just two dicks going at it. That's basically all I saw in that match. They're both annoying.
Besides that one bad, I would talk about one, but I think it should be the ugly. I don't know.
It was there was a lot of weird segments on that show.
Like the one I want to talk about is the ugly.
All right. Well, do you guys want to talk about the ugly now, or do you guys have any more bad segments?
I can't really think of any more bad because I think we've already covered all the bad, really.
Yeah, and then we'll start. Like I said, we'll get into details after we start talking about the ugly. We'll start talking about what happened after WrestleMania. I think Aiden's got a good case behind that, so I'll pass it over to him here in a few minutes. Because like that, it's been a crazy last few days. Did you guys love my favorite advertisement mania? Did you love how they were advertising, our favorite Paul Brothers energy drink and Cinnamon Toast Crunch during a family feud? Your most serious feuds.
Another freaking promo crap again for freaking sponsors.
I would be upset if I cared at all about the match.
So. Is that drink it like KSI? If anyone knows what that is,
oh god, that was ugly too. Freaking KSI, man.
I think I took a splash through a table. I'm not too mad at that.
I think WWE's gonna start having like all the YouTubers like they'll have Ricecom next, and they'll have.
And that's gonna be their down. That's gonna be their downfall is getting all these freaking YouTubers, man.
Look at Ricecom. Who else? They're not gonna get PewDiePie.
Gotta get Mr. Beast, man.
Imagine what
Jacksepticeye. Let's get an Irishman in there.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Having Markiplier on the show would be kind of cool.
Only
could Jacksepticeye be like the manager for the Brawling Brutes?
Yeah, there you go. See, look at that, Vince. Like, call us up, buddy. Like, we're on your level when it comes to shit.
The comments are something else.
I know, right?
Mike, I can see that.
That is kind of a crazy thing to say, Mike. Not gonna lie.
I'm not gonna pull that one up.
That's what I was laughing about, and then you brought Omos, and that made me laugh even more.
Oh, man.
No, man, I'm almost staple.
Yeah. I'm just surprised that the demon didn't come out,
but hey,
covered in
that would have been a better segment. That would have been a better segment than that whole thing with Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
But that's that.
It just was crazy what happened. It just I, to be honest with you, thought Cena and Theory belonged under the ugly category because it was both bad, ugly, and disappointing.
Yeah, that's not the original Cena I remember.
It was basically a passing of the torch thing that I really didn't need to see.
It was almost as bad as Kurt Angle versus Elias, or not Elias,
Baron
Corbin.
Yeah. Don't say that. No.
Yeah, that was
amateur wrestling star Baron Corbin. Man. It should have been Chad Gable, right? Like that's the consensus.
I mean, it should have been. It goes back to my statement. Chad Gable, like
the guy. He's no longer a kid. Like he's a man now.
He's like Charlie Haas and Kurt Angle in the one.
Yeah,
Shelton Benjamin too. Yeah,
dude, if he could leave WWE and go to like Impact and wrestle against Josh Alexander or Speedball Mike Bailey, like, dude, he would have like 5-6 star matches.
I think he could be a world champion if WWE would ever. Of course, they're never going to think of him as a world champion.
Nah, man, he's Shorty G. What are you talking about?
Well, that's the thing. Is a lot of people are. That's one thing that WWE fans specifically, they cannot grasp that concept that you can have somebody besides Rey Mysterio, because Rey Mysterio is the only exception to this rule. But they have to be big, beefy boys.
Daniel Bryan, you had Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, Bryan Danielson.
You had the exception, but that's only because that crowd got behind him during summer.
If it wasn't for the Yes movement,
if it wasn't for that Yes movement, he wouldn't have been in that spot.
Well, I don't think we're ever going to see another Yes movement because
at least
currently, because there's an alternative and because the wrestling community is getting smarter and smarter, they're starting to smarter fans are going to leave WWE and start watching AEW.
Like the moment AEW started, you start to notice the crowd's deader and deader and deader. Then there's pumping noise in the crowds. Everyone's left, and
They don't care enough. That like WWE fans, no matter what, they're gonna just accept whatever happens.
Of course, there's some nights like Raw after Mania, like pay-per-views, like you'll get hot crowds, but like that every week aspect out.
No.
Well, you look at the dynamics of a crowd too. Like I even watched the Stand and Deliver pay-per-view on NXT. That crowd was dead. Like they sat the entire time. Like if you watch an AEW, even on a Dynamite or a Rampage, that crowd's standing a lot during a lot of things. They don't sit down. But those crowds at WWE shows, they're always sitting. They don't react.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, WWE crowds, they sit on their hands, and then I'll always like they'll pop for something, and then I'll see like how has anyone ever been this over in like 10 years? And it's like literally watching an AEW show. This happens every time. It's so insane.
Well, if you look at it, it's sad when you see an NXT crowd that is quiet. So, Bully Ray posted this tweet, and I thought this is a great one to quote since we're talking about this. But ROH fans became NXT fans, and the hardcore NXT fans left and became AEW fans. And all that's left right now with WWE fans are the ones that genuinely like sports entertainment, or they just like tradition.
Seems about right.
Because think about it, that's why WWE is still popular. Is it's tradition. You know, you can bring your kids, you can bring families to it, if they're wrestling fans or not, and have be like the circus and just watch a show, not a pro wrestling show, a television show.
Yeah, there was someone on Twitter like they need that fair minimum, like not catering just one demographic.
Yeah,
like at least AEW, like it's different demographics. Like you got the hardcore fans, then you got like the hardcore fans for like Moxley, Jericho, like people that then you got guys like
you got the New Japan,
like New Japan, guys like Andretti, B Moriarty, like those guys. And now like I also heard this one time that everyone grew up watching WWE nowadays. Now the kids growing up today is gonna be growing up watching AEW, and they're like most prized wrestlers gonna be like Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, there's a lot of other ones. Basically summed it up with that Bubba Ray comment.
Yeah, I myself have been watching AEW longer than I have watched WWE. When I started watching wrestling in 2014, I started watching SummerSlam 2014, the first show I ever watched. And I only watched it because I saw an ad for it and Brock Lesnar was on it. And me and my dad used to watch UFC. So I was like, oh, Brock Lesnar, I want to see him. And so I stopped watching it around, it was shortly after Extreme Rules 2015. And then I started watching AEW because I saw, I think it's because I saw Luchasaurus. And I was like, oh man, this dude looks awesome. So I just found like a clip on YouTube. And then I started watching it on TV, and I've been watching since 2020. And so I've been watching AEW for nearly 3 years at this point. And I've only watched WWE for a year and a half. So I feel like for me, it's like AEW is mostly what I know, And I feel like it's going to be like that for a lot of people, especially give it like 5 years.
For me,
and that's what I was. I mean, we've talked about it, especially with me, with where my age gap is. I grew up in the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era. I lived through those eras of WWF transition into WWE. I remember those days when the news broke out that World Wildlife Federation was suing WWF and they had to drop the F. But it wasn't just that. It was also a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I mean, I think we've all seen the episode of Plane Ride from Hell on Dark Side of the Ring about allegations against all these wrestlers, against, the stewardess, and that they had to change their image. I lived through that. And then it was getting to that product where I'm like, I can't get behind this product anymore for a while. And I would go back and I actually switched over to Lucha Underground. I watched Lucha Underground for like 3 years, where there's a 3 year gap where I watched that and not WWE, because I enjoyed more of Lucha Underground's what they were doing in the ring and their storytelling over there than WWE was. And so when AEW came around and I saw it and like for like first time in like 2020, I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. This is the wrestling I remember back in when I was a kid. Like the matches are great. The story's great. You got these factions, you got these individuals. I loved it. And that's kind of what drew me back to loving professional wrestling. And, now like watching WWE now, I can see where they're trying to get back to what made them what they were. But again, we'll talk about it, about all the behind the scenes crap going on with everything the last few days.
And it's crazy. That's actually a good segue.
I probably can't top that, but I'm 21. I definitely did not grow up in the Attitude Era. If I did, I'd be lying. But I started watching TNA, but I also watched. My uncle got me in the WWE and TNA. But I remember most of TNA. I watched AJ Styles first when he won the TNA World Championship. That's probably like one of the biggest moments I witnessed, like watching. The first WWE thing I remember watching is Randy Orton and Shawn Michaels. I don't know what it was, but watching from the Ruthless Aggression era, I'd say 2006 to I got out of wrestling in 2011. Like, oh my God, like trying to find some love for wrestling, like there was no alternative. Hulk Hogan kind of put the end to TNA. I'm just rambling now because I can't talk what Adam said.
Well, I think that's what's interesting about our group is that we have different spots of where we came into wrestling, and I think why we have such a love for AEW. One, you look at what has happened the last couple of days, right? Tony Khan is at least pretty steady when it comes to how he manages his team. Of course, there's been some quirks and some issues in the road, but you don't have as if something happened to say Tony Khan, you're not going to have guys walk out if automatically. You have to have a good reason. You're not going to have last minute script changes as much. And Aiden, I think I'm going to pass the torch over to you, my friend. Why don't you give us a brief synopsis or give us a brief explanation of the sell of WWE and some issues with some talent and possibly maybe not having Jay White join WWE. I think you covered it the best.
Yeah, there's been a lot of news these past 3 days, huh? So first up, the WWE sale to Endeavor, which for me personally, that's the company, for those of you that don't know, that's the company that owns UFC. And so I think it could possibly, it depends on how hands-on or hands-off they are. If they're hands-on, I think it's a very bad thing because I worry that they would try to go to $80 pay-per-views just like UFC does, which is atrocious.
Not worth it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not worth it, especially when you're going to have, Rock, I'm sorry, I just read Rock in the chat. Roman Reigns versus Cody, and with, distraction interference finish at WrestleMania. Like, could you imagine? I can't remember what pay-per-view it was, but it was Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton. And the ending of the pay-per-view was Big Show coming in when he was like doing his whole sad gimmick, and he would just knock out both guys. And that's how the show ended. Imagine paying $50 for that show, and that's how it ended. Like, I don't have that trust in WWE to give me a match like that. If I'm going to pay $50, it's an agreement for you're going to give me a match that should have a finish. It's going to determine these stakes, and they're going to do that. And that's not worth it for me.
See, I don't mind having a bad finish in a match, or a finish that I don't like. But the thing is, you got to make sure it works, because if it's just Big Show coming out and knocking out people, what's the point?
I would like WWE. There's like from top to bottom is not worth $80. Like last night, if they would have done that, and I had to pick a night, I had to pay it to be night 2, mainly just for Roman and Cody. But doesn't UFC? I think didn't WWE used to charge like $40 or $50, but UFC charges 80 something, don't they? Like per fight.
UFC usually, it depends on the card for UFC. If there's big name fighters on the card, they'll charge an upwards to almost $100 for a pay-per-view. Because of those big name. You look at names where you had like John Bone Jones. When he's on the card, they charge a lot.
How much was that last one? Yeah, when he won the
that
belt.
last one was like almost like $90.
That's so
like
insane to me.
it's ridiculous. Like, but you guys have to remember, when UFC started, it actually did start as an Ultimate Fight thing. Like there was no rules. Like there really wasn't. It was I keep forgetting that guy's name is like Art something, but Art, who created it, who was a car salesman, he created that. If anybody knows the story of UFC, basically what it is the guy named I keep forgetting his name. It's Art something. If someone knows in the comment, let me know. But Art started it in the 90s, and he thought he was really good friends with the Gracie family, the Jiu-Jitsu family Gracies, and basically what they did was he thought the Gracies had the best style, and the Gracies even said, we have a fight style that nobody can beat. So Art Davie, that's who the name is. Art Davie said, let's have a competition and get all these different fighters and see whose style is the best. And it literally started with 8 fighters. I mean, when he comes out, we could talk to him about it, but Ken Shamrock was one of the original fighters in UFC. And so you started out with 8 guys. It was Gracie, it was Shamrock, it was a boxer, it was a kickboxer, it was a sumo wrestler. You had all these guys. That's how it started. And they did do it on pay-per-view. But back then, that pay-per-view was like cheap. That pay-per-view was like $40, $50. And it was like that. And you looked at that was almost like every other WWF pay-per-view that I remember watching as a kid. Every WWF pay-per-view, I had to beg my mom to order because they were like $50. I still want to watch it, you know? But that's how it is, you know, with pay-per-views and with UFC. I mean, they're just going to charge an upward of a lot depending on what their card looks like.
And the hard part is, if you look at it, you know, WWE kind of saturated the market when they went to, you know, the network and then on Peacock. Because think about it, I watched WrestleMania for $5. You know how sad that is? Like, it's like you've saturated your own market. And that's why people don't want to spend $50 to watch AEW or $50 to watch any pay-per-view. They don't want yours $20. Like, you know,
like AEW is normally run up to how much, like $49.99, $39. I see, like they only do 4 quarters a year. Like you're guaranteed to have like at least more than 2 matches that's going to be good. Like from the last pay-per-view, Moxley, Hangman, good. Main event, good. Trios match, good. Sorry, 3 matches.
Yeah, I think it's easier to justify the $50 for an AEW pay-per-view than it would be for $20 for a random WWE pay-per-view. Like the only one that you might be able to justify
WrestleMania Backlash.
My uncle kind of came up with this term, but I just call it slop.
Slop.
Mm-hmm.
My grandpa kind of made bad dinner one night. We just call it slop. So
it's because they do a single pay-per-view every single month. Sometimes they've done 2 pay-per-views in a month.
Yeah.
Like why would I pay a huge price every single time to watch it?
Imagine how much The Rock versus Roman would be.
Oh my gosh, they would charge like $100 for that.
Yeah,
per night. They do 2 nights. I know this isn't UFC, but do you anyone know how much Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather was on pay-per-view?
That was like $80, man.
yeah, at least.
Because like that was like a big money fight.
I watched it and I was very disappointed in it. I was like, that's just so disappointing.
Yeah.
It's the most disappointing fight I've ever seen.
I just pirate all that stuff. Like for not the last whatever pay-per-view it was with John Jones. Was it 285?
I think so.
Yeah, I just went over to my friend's house. We just connected it to my computer, put it on the TV, and didn't have to pay a penny for it. So,
I mean, and that's another thing. It goes back to the days of like Napster, of when you're just getting music off of the internet for like free, and you don't have to buy a whole album. That's what streaming is now. You're basically taking these pay-per-views. Like there's sites where you can watch free streams of stuff if you know where to go, and they're mostly overseas. And trying to find it over here in the States, you kind of have to go to like a foreign website to kind of do it. But it's possible, and like that's also a killer too.
Yeah. So what other big things have happened in that you like part of your notes that you left here? Like what's some other takes you want to give us?
I've got a lot, but I want to look at what the chat's saying real quick. Right now, Jason Miller has asked, what are some of our fave Mania matches? So I just thought we would just do that real quick.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I have a whole, that's the next segment we're going to talk about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like I said, it's coming up. Like, it's just...
I do want to mention this. Mr. Jacobs, he's been coming a lot. Thanks for tuning in. I know it's not some hijacking, but I had to point that out. Mr. Jacobs was on.
No worries. Yeah, like I said, we just have a lot. Like I said, we've had this is probably one of our most in-depth conversations we've had
And
on Talking Elite.
I do see Mr. Jacobs, Austin vs. Rock when Austin my favorite.
Yeah, that one right there was probably that was one of the ones that really kind of shifted WWE's needle.
Please subscribe.
Yeah, please subscribe. Yeah, we like I said, we do shows like this every week, plus watch along. So it's a lot of fun. And Mr. Jacobs is one of our great panelists. Fortunately, he couldn't make it tonight, but I'm glad he was able to watch for a little bit. So thanks, man. Always a pleasure to have you, at least in the chat section, if not on camera.
So, you guys want some more news? Because I've got a lot of news.
Yeah, drop the news real quick, and then we'll get to our most iconic moments.
Okay, so we've got let's see. We've got here's going to be some contract news. It'll grow in relative importance. Andrade's contract, apparently, according to him, is up soon, and he's nearly 100% ready to wrestle. I don't know what he does. He's burned the bridge with AEW trying to get fired. He can't wrestle for NJPW because of his commitments to AAA.
Yeah.
And he could go to WWE, and he probably will because that's where Charlotte is. But under Vince is what he's going to be there.
Yeah,
so
that's the reason he left.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another possibility. Maybe him and Charlotte start a family. Who knows? I mean, that could be also a possibility. Maybe take some time off,
Mm-hmm. Maybe he does take some time off, try to rekindle his relationship with AEW. That would, if you want to be fulfilled from a creative standpoint, that's probably your best bet. If he does want to just work and be on the road with Charlotte, though, I don't see why he wouldn't.
His contract does expire next year.
Oh, he said in an interview recently that it was up soon.
June 2024.
Oh, well, just lied in an interview.
Aren't a lot of those contracts up in June of 2024?
Yeah,
in AEW, a lot of them are.
A few of them, yeah.
More contract news. Bayley, people are speculating that she is gone because of a tweet she made, as well as on the Raw after Mania not being mentioned at all as part of Damage Control.
What?
Yeah, like they never said Bayley's name.
And she wasn't even at ringside, I heard.
No, she wasn't. It's causing a lot of speculation. We don't really know.
Would you sign her to AEW, or do you think
I would personally?
Okay.
I mean, to add fuel to the Outcast versus AEW originals, maybe. But again, if she leaves, she's got that 90-day clause that she can't compete.
And is Vince really going to release her?
I don't think it'll be Vince because I think it was when Endeavor purchased UFC, they made a ton of layoffs.
Technically,
they did, didn't they?
I didn't think about that.
Endeavor's stingy with their money. Just look at Ngannou. He left. He walked. He wasn't getting paid enough.
I didn't think about that.
It's gonna be if y'all think the April 15th releases that happen every year are bad, just wait until Endeavor really gets.
Wouldn't they see that people want to leave because of one person? Wouldn't you just fire that person so everyone stays?
But I doubt that they don't care.
It would seem reasonable, but yeah, they don't.
They know WWE's going to be profitable no matter what they do.
Because the person said that he wasn't going to allow Vince McMahon to retire or something. He was on ESPN or something.
Yeah, they did an interview, and he even said, he goes, "I wasn't going to let Vince McMahon walk." But look with UFC, Dana White had that whole controversy of
punching his wife,
domestic, and he's still in charge of UFC.
Yeah.
I mean,
slapped his wife, and then a month later had a show on TV called Power Slap. That is
exactly
so crazy.
Exactly.
I don't know if you have this in your notes, but it's reported that one person, a one top paid star is
one top talent, top of the card
I
talent.
wonder what that's Bayley or
I think it might be
or Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre is my next one. Apparently, his deal expires in about, I don't know if it was at the end of the year or if in a year's time, but apparently both sides are not close to coming into an agreement. I don't really see Drew leaving. I feel like WWE really loves his type. He's fast. He has the look of a superstar. He's charismatic. I think he's already won a title. It'd be kind of crazy if he did walk. I don't know where he would go. I could see him back in Impact. If AEW wanted to, they could afford him, but I don't really see the fit.
Yeah.
And then two more for contract news. Jay White is apparently not going to WWE according to PWI Insider.
I saw reports on that one.
Yeah,
I
and
think he would have
wrestling.
won. I think he would have won if Vince wouldn't have came back.
I think so. I think that's a fair take.
This changes everything.
Because I think he was supposed to be Cody's partner last night. Is that correct, or
I don't think so.
It's speculation.
I think if he was going to debut, it would have been like attacking like Rollins or something.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's. I don't know what he does because if it's not WWE.
Speaking of Seth Rollins, they would have changed his segment right in the ring.
Yeah, I saw that he's like leaning over to get his mic, and they're like talking to him. That was crazy. But yeah, Jay White, I don't know what he does. Does he go to AEW? Because you have.
He's got a good relationship over there in AEW ROH. I mean, there's so much you can do with him. I mean, also like you got Forbidden Door coming up soon, so I mean, you got so many good matches you can have Jay White with, so. I mean, that's probably, in my eyes, the number one spot I think Jay White lands at is AEW. If not that, maybe he ends up on Impact, but I don't know if they'll be able to afford him. And what do you do with him on Impact, I
think if he is an Impact, the only thing you can do with him is pair him with Ace Austin and Chris Bay as Bullet Club.
Yeah.
But if he's in AEW, I think you pair him with Juice Robinson, who's talking about Bullet Club a lot. Who was it?
Maybe Adam Cole.
I feel like Adam Cole has to be a face, though.
Yeah, he has to be a face for now. Yeah.
And my biggest problem is that Bullet Club should not be alive. Like, it's been going on for so long.
They've kind of ruined Bullet Club in Japan.
It's just been, it's been going on for so long.
It's like the NWO at this point, like, because I was a huge Bullet Club mark. I still have the jackets, the shirts, but
I had my shirt
after really kind of after, the Gorillas left, it just fizzled.
I don't know where he goes.
Hasn't, like, the problem is that the purpose of a faction is to increase the stock of everyone in the group. And it did that for everyone.
For years.
Yeah, for years. It's done that for Prince Devitt. It's done that for everyone who was involved with that. It did that for Styles.
Omega.
For
Buck,
Omega and the Bucks, especially.
Cody,
and then Jay White
Hangman.
came in. Jay White was good as its leader, and it did elevate him for a bit, but it's no longer. It's ran out of juice. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. And then I think really evil and that.
House of Torture. Oh, don't get.
I just came up with something. Jay White and the House of Black are going against Malachi Black. That seems like a really good match. Jay White, Malachi Black.
It would be a good match, but they're both heels, and it'd be kind of weird to see them go against each other.
Or Pac versus Jay White.
Pac and Jay White would be good.
Pac and Jay White would be very good.
But I don't really see where he goes. Like, it feels like AEW is the place he's going to go. Like, where else besides AEW? I mean, Impact, I guess.
And like Ring of Honor, but I feel like he would easily be the biggest person in Ring of Honor if that's the case.
He would have to be the face of Ring of Honor.
If he does go to AEW, I could see him as a really good international champion.
Yeah.
I can see him having that AEW international title.
I see him as world championship material, but the problem is AEW has so much world championship material.
They've already got a story going there with the Pillars, and I'm actually enjoying that story.
I'm loving
throwing Jay White into that. I don't see it. You kind of want to build him up to it. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at a lot of TNT champions kind of fought their way up to a world title match. So you kind of probably want to start Jay White there, have him maybe dethrone Orange Cassidy and take that international title.
I think the only person who should be dethroning Orange Cassidy is Rush. He has fought tooth and nail for every opportunity he's had. He's been given it, and then he took it and ran with it. He is what people wanted Andrade to be, and he has taken and he has earned Andrade's spot, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But Jay White going to – sorry. Can I just finish my thought real quick?
Yeah.
Because Jay White is like a world-class talent, but there's so many people who should be AEW World Championship or AEW World Champion who have been there for longer. Mm-hmm. I think like Eddie Kingston, Swerve, Keith Lee's in there. Darby, yeah. There's a ton more that I'm just like blanking on right now. Malachi Black, that's like a Pac again also. There's just so much. And yeah, Jay White is great, but at what point do you like keep bringing in these guys? Can you afford to put them behind on the list, or do you have to move them to the front? I don't think it's like correct to move them to the front of the list.
Yeah.
I think if Ring of Honor needs a few, him and Kalai will be pretty good. but I don't know if you put him on Ring of Honor.
Yeah. I don't know. All right. Well, Aiden, is there anything else that you want to bring up?
Let's see. I don't really have much. Just kind of more funny news. Some kind of funny news. Zero News has been caught and compromised to a permanent end. Zero News, according to Zero News, deleting their account. So that's kind of a W. Billy Corgan said that Tyrus is someone who draws heat just like Andre the Giant used to do, which was the worst take I've ever heard. And what else?
I like Tyrus.
Dante Martin seems to be went to the hospital. Has already been released. I think so. I'm pretty sure that's
Tony Khan even posted about it. He actually went and saw him.
Yeah, that's very cool of Tony. So hoping for Dante to recover soon. What else? Just what would you guys rate this year's WrestleMania weekend?
6 out of 10. Mania kind of killed it.
6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Super Card of Honor was my WrestleMania.
I'll give it a 6.5.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Just between like everything else that was not WWE was really good.
Nigel McGuinness.
Oh yeah, everything outside of WWE was
yeah.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about Nigel McGuinness coming back.
Yeah, like I messaged Aiden that, or I put in the group, and then
I was setting up my stream to watch, and then I see it. I'm like, no way.
Like that was probably the return of the weekend.
Oh yeah, remember how Nick Khan said that there was going to be some returns? All we got was Pat McAfee and Shane.
Yeah.
Great returns, Aiden. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's world-class talent.
Great job, Nick Khan. You know exactly what we want.
There's only room for one Khan in professional wrestling.
Oh.
And it's the Wrath of Khan from Star Trek.
In my soul. I just see Tony just like doing the whole Cody look. Like it's seriously like it's just so wild to me that I mean I'm not trying to be biased here because I like professional wrestling compared to sports entertainment, but before we start talking about our fair moments, let me ask you guys this question: do you think WrestleMania has lost its spark and is now just a travel destination?
Pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. And like if this year doesn't prove it, nothing will to you. But it hasn't been prestigious since like 31.
Yeah.
Like 30, 31, 35 era.
For 35, I guess I was just thinking of like when, because 35, I think you could argue it was like a WrestleMania, but like 34 and then 33 and 32, those are just like
32. Like everyone was half the roster was injured, and they came up to put like one of the best WrestleManias. 33 was like the last top to bottom, like feuds, like Seth Rollins and Triple H, like that was a very good storytelling.
Yeah.
And of course the next night, well, obviously the Hardys coming back, that was something else that I never thought I'd see again.
I just always think of 32 where it was like was that was the one where it was Roman versus Triple H in the main event, right?
Yeah.
With that like 30-minute match that it felt like wading through, like I felt like I was swimming through oatmeal watching it, you know? It was just bad.
Yeah, it was very slow.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like I said, that's at the time when a lot of people were losing faith in Roman. It's crazy how things change.
Well, it changed because they finally listened to the fans. The people are like, "Oh, turn Roman heel," and then they turn Roman heel. And, oh, surprise!
And now he's had the title for 2 years.
Well,
And it's just like it's that repetitive story. It's like, dude, I think I know what you guys are trying to do. You're trying to kill Hulk Hogan's record because that's basically what it is. Because Hogan has literally left a bad taste in everybody's mouth in WWE. He's basically burned bridges in WWE.
Again?
And I don't think he'll ever be. Yeah, I mean, he's there. There's been talks that he's because of his off-kilter personality now and his views that nobody in WWE kind of wants him around anymore. Yeah. So it's like now they're just trying to break that record of Hulk Hogan, just so it can be. It'd be like, oh, Roman beat it, so Roman's above Hulk now.
Yeah.
So, but I agree with you. Like, it's just WrestleMania has just become a destination. I mean, when next year's in Philadelphia, like, I don't know where you pick that out of, like that city.
So for NXT tonight, fans are chatting fire events.
Already?
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow. At NXT.
Yeah. That's bad.
But I feel like Hulk Hogan, the problem with it is Hogan's DNA has been in the company since the 80s.
Yeah.
And you've seen that with
You're like Hulk Hogan, brother.
I just mean like there's like one guy you have to build the tent pole around, you know?
Come on, brother.
It was Hogan, it was Austin, it was Cena, it's Roman Reigns. And you could argue that it worked with Austin.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's because Austin was the tentpole guy. It's because you had guys surrounding him like The Rock, like Triple H, like
Brett.
Shawn Michaels, like The Undertaker, like Brett. Yeah. And so it's really only worked for that because you've had such a good team around him. Like, it doesn't work. Like, one guy does not work.
No. All right. Well, thanks, Aiden, for that wonderful news. That was a fun segment. All right. So, when you guys think WrestleMania, I'm going to address this question, and then I'm going to give you the first one that comes to my head, and I'll ask you guys as well. And we'll just kind of bounce off back and forth on moments. When I think WrestleMania, I think the first that comes into mind is from WrestleMania 3, when Hogan was the first man to slam Andre the Giant. And that whole story, it's just very simple, fun. But I feel like that was one of the first big WrestleMania moments that we have in wrestling history. Even though Jake the Snake was the first person to body slam Hogan, or body slam Andre. So I don't know, for me, that was like the one that just sticks out to me. Adam, what about you? Like, when you think WrestleMania, what's that first thing that comes to your mind?
WrestleMania 10. Shawn Michaels doing the frog splash from the top of the ladder on top of Razor Ramon.
Yes.
Doing their title match. That match, watching it as a kid, I was like, that's phenomenal. I was just a little kid. WrestleMania 10, that was 95. I was 8 years old, and watching highlights of that match and just seeing Shawn doing that's there's a reason Shawn Michaels is known as Mr. WrestleMania. It's because he has moments like that. So seeing that for the first time and thinking WrestleMania, that's an image that kind of spurs to my head.
Yeah, that one, I forgot. I didn't put that one on my list. I should have. But that frog splash was probably one of the best ones of history.
And he didn't even win that match. Razor Ramon won that match.
Yeah, crazy to think that one of the best moments comes to the loser of a match. But that was probably one of the best eras of wrestling.
Uh-huh.
So, Aiden, what about you? When you think WrestleMania, what do you picture that comes to your mind?
Well, I feel like for one, and I'm going to go with a more recent one because that's just the era that I grew up watching. But Daniel Bryan at Mania 30 has to, like, that is, it spurred, like, that is one of the last organically grown moments. It's not the last, but it's one of them. It inspired so many things. Like, look at Kofi Mania. Like, it is done, like, that moment should be ingrained in wrestling history. For a moment for like me personally would be the Seth Rollins cashing in at Mania 31.
Oh, when he just did
the swing over the head is iconic.
Over his head when the fireworks are going off. Yes.
But yeah, if I had to choose just one moment, it would definitely be Mania 30. You can get rid of Michael Cole's the Miracle Kid on commentary. That was kind of icky. But,
it wasn't as bad as the knee.
Oh my gosh.
It's the knee. Yes.
Like Miracle on Bourbon Street, that's a good call. Like that's a good one. But when you're Michael Cole, calm down. Stop.
Calm down. What about you, Connor?
Well, this is gonna be probably Stone Cold versus The Rock when Stone Cold turned heel and joined Vince McMahon. That was a good one. Anything with Jim Ross plastered on it, like Stone Cold, really, like anything with Jim Ross's voice plastered with Stone Cold was like,
Stone Cold.
it gave you goosebumps. Like
Mhm.
he made you mad, he made you cry. Like every moment that Jim Ross was in, everything with his voice plastered on it. But Triple H versus Batista when Triple H basically passed the torch to Batista, kind of.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar ending the undefeated streak. That seemed like a WrestleMania thing. Well, yeah, it was, but for it to end, like I remember the bald-headed guy just in utter shock, and like that guy is still famous to this day for like that moment. Like everyone was just in shock, and like I wasn't even watching wrestling at that point anymore, and I missed I missed that moment. The TLC matches.
TLC number 2.
Probably the one where with Jeff Hardy's
Edge spear him off the ladder.
Yeah, and all the cameras flashing. Like you don't see that anymore in wrestling. Like,
I miss the camera flash.
Yeah, like no one does it anymore. Like those big moments, and then the flash photography is just going crazy. I could sit here all night and talk about anything Jim Ross.
My God, he killed him.
Shawn Michaels and Undertaker 25 and 26 is really good.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 22, Edge versus Mick Foley. There's a lot.
I know
Jim Ross.
I got one more, and it might be controversial just because of one of the people involved in it.
Shoot,
but 2004, the end of WrestleMania 20 with Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit.
I was about to bring that up.
In the middle of the ring.
Yes.
That for me, knowing where I've seen those guys come through ECW. I remember I was watching ECW as a kid and watching those guys on ECW, and finally seeing them in 2004 winning world titles. That was, for me, that was a moment. The sadness of what came after with Chris Benoit, which is another thing I guess I'll touch on quick and not really stick with it too long, but that's another thing, that the health and safety of professional wrestlers nowadays, I feel it's not 100 times better than what it was, but it still needs to be kept an eye on, just because of head injuries and just serious injuries like that. I mean, these men and women are taking bumps, and they can seriously have head injuries. I mean, look at Finn Balor, with that ladder to the head, the other night, and the split. It can happen like that. So just the thought that these men and women are putting their lives on the line for us, to let us be entertained by what they're doing. But I will say that moment of those two hugging at the end of WrestleMania 20, as I think I was a sophomore in high school, I was tearing. I was a sophomore in high school tearing up, going, this is awesome. This is awesome. I watched these guys as a kid in ECW, and now they're world champions.
It's one of those things that it sucks that, it's hard for people to talk about it because of what happened with Benoit, and then having, Eddie pass shortly after that too. You know, both of those guys were some of the best in-ring technicians, and unfortunately, due to what happened, unfortunately we cannot talk. WWE or the wrestling, like the wrestling media, we can't talk about it as much. Podcasting we can, but it's so hard to see that moment and then know exactly what happened after that. If you want to talk about another great, match and moment, was Bret Hart putting the sharpshooter on Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Steve Austin just covered and drenched in blood. Like that one was probably one of the best selling of any move I have ever seen any submission hold.
The double turn.
Yeah.
The double turn. It was Bret went from face to heel, and Stone Cold went from heel to face.
Yeah. Crazy how things like that happen. And looking at that, I feel like that one's plastered on the then, now, forever, and will always be that pinnacle of the almost the golden era of wrestling.
Yeah.
Another one that I think gets me emotional, I didn't watch it live because I wasn't watching wrestling at the time, but was the "I'm sorry, I love you" super kick to Ric Flair from the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
WrestleMania 24.
Yep. And just seeing the emotion of both those, wrestlers. Ric Flair's last match.
Yeah, I was gonna say last match. Yeah, we knew what happened after that.
Yeah,
and it wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, but just that moment in general was you had two of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and then to have Shawn Michaels retire, one of probably the greatest heels in the wrestling industry. Well, supposed to, how that works, but we can say the same thing about Shawn Michaels and Undertaker at that point too. Because that was looking at that super kick, or sweet chin music. Sorry, sweet chin music. That one was probably one of the best finishes to a match I've ever seen. Like I would say it's probably top 5 like all time finishes.
Kurt Angle and who was it? Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels. That was a really good one.
Mania
I haven't
21.
seen one. Because when I think Kurt Angle at WrestleMania, I think of him and Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar breaking his freaking neck and doing a freaking shoot.
Yeah, WrestleMania 19. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the documentary that Mr. Man was like, "Don't you ever do that again."
Which is crazy because he knocked it out in OVW like it was nothing.
Yeah, he did it on WrestleMania and all broke his. And then I remember in the back like him getting mad at everyone trying to check up on him and.
Yeah. The broken freaking neck and almost a broken freaking neck.
Kurt Angle, not many. Chad Gable's the only one like today's wrestling that has his reactions. Like he's literally crying, he can't get the win. Then he pulled the straps down. And he's cussing the referee out, like literal tears. Like Jim Ross in those type of matches with Kurt Angle is something special.
Mm-hmm.
I love the pulling the straps down only to pull them right back up.
Yeah,
That's a moment that I love. But I think that is definitely Kurt Angle's best Mania match. It's insane to me that
if you want to talk about Perk Angle, that's a whole different Kurt
Angle. Perk Angle.
That's a whole different Kurt Angle.
It's crazy to me that Angle doesn't have any 5-star matches from Wrestling Observer Newsletter. No. I think he deserves. I think the Michaels Angle Mania 21 one deserves one. I've only given 7 matches in Mania history a 10 out of 10, which is because I haven't seen all of them. But
I believe his first match against Samoa Joe was really good when Samoa Joe was undefeated in TNA. Like that was like a dream match at that time because Samoa Joe is basically the next up and coming talent that's not in WWE. Kurt Angle basically gets fired from WWE.
Yeah.
And that match was like a very big dream match. I didn't live through it, but just going back and watching it, you can just feel that was a dream match.
One of my personal favorite Mania moments. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You can go.
No, I was just gonna say I'm with you, Aiden. There's maybe like 5 matches in WrestleMania history I gave 10 out of 10. So
I'm very picky with my match ratings. Like, if something's like truly, if I feel something's like truly perfect, then I can give it a 10 out of 10. But like that's it. That's my case. But one of my personal favorite is the Firefly Funhouse match between John Cena and Bray Wyatt.
Try saying that 10 times fast.
I know, right? Because like, there's never been like such a meta thing that WWE has done where they have openly been like, "Yeah, we're the bad guy here," and I was like, "Wow." That's insane that like someone like greenlit this, like Vince being like a demon puppet, and he's like, you have to be a body guy, you have to do this, yada yada yada.
I bet he wanted that though. I bet he signed off on it.
I bet Vince didn't even like watch it or like read the script.
I think he did. I think he just liked the humor of it. It's like, oh, I can laugh at myself. Ha ha, demon. Ha, funny. Ha, that's good shit, pal.
He was probably also thinking, think of the merch. Oh, the merch we can do with these Vince dolls. Oh,
yes.
Yeah. But like, I've never seen like such a laser focused like character assassination in any form of wrestling.
Yeah.
Other than that.
I think the nuances to the Firefly Funhouse match was probably why it's one of my favorite cinematic matches of any company. Like I put it up there with Matt Hardy's, Final Deletion. Going through the phase of John Cena's career from Super Cena to the prototype, and then to what happened if John Cena turned heel and joined the NWL. Like, I loved the nuance to that whole story. It's very almost like it was for not just a casual fan, but it was also for like us, like smart marks, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Like it played a lot to like our critiques, especially about cinematic matches. I think that's why I like that one better than the Boneyard match.
I think smart marks are the ones who, well, they go back on their opinion. We're more the hardcore fan base.
Yeah,
you also just. I mean, it's a quote from Bryan Danielson. The fans are fickle. It is the honest truth. Once he said that in a promo during that turn that run as the environmentalist Daniel Bryan, I kind of understood where he was coming from. Yeah, because I'm like, he's not wrong, because these fans will turn on a dime, but then they're weird enough to understand, well, this is my product. I've got to like it, but I don't like it, but I'm still watching it. You're fickle because you're supporting a product that you don't like, but you're known of. And like, I don't know how many times I've read boards on Facebook, wrestling boards, of fans just being marks for companies. I'm like, dude, can we just enjoy wrestling as a whole and not tell people don't watch this, or watch this, don't watch that? Like, it is amazing how much fickleness and just negativity and just bickering you see on the wrestling community. And it's very annoying. Like, I hate it. Like, I'm starting to hate WWE marks because of it. I'm not saying I hate the entire WWE product. I just don't prefer it. I prefer AEW or, Impact. I prefer all these over what WWE does. I don't hate WWE. I mean, I still watched WrestleMania just because it's wrestling. But don't tell me, oh yeah, no, AEW doesn't do stuff like this. They're in the trash. No, they're not. They're just a different product. Like, I guarantee you watch one match and you judge a company based on that match. And it might not be a good match, but you're going to judge a company based on that.
Well, I think what the issue is, you have all the naysayers and negativity. And I think it turns people away from AEW because you said, hey, you're the unsafe product. You don't have you don't have any big stars. Like, all your stars are like cruiserweights.
There's one right here. He's a star.
Well, if you look at it, but it's one of those things that makes me just. We could have a whole other podcast on this.
Proves that they don't watch. That they just see something like Garrett's, for example, and they go based on his.
Yeah.
But they don't at least watch the product to say, because some people don't even watch AEW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't get how you can, if you do honestly watch AEW, and then you just turn around and say, oh, this product is worse than what this company is putting out. Sure. I would just obviously it's subjective. I get that, but I do not, because they can't give an actual criticism of why. They say, oh, it's because they have no stories. It's like, you're just lying. You're just lying. You're not listening.
They might have stories, but they might not be good stories, but they have stories.
I think even they'll even say that the MJF title run doesn't have Danielson's climb to face MJF doesn't have story. It did.
Danielson, a little bit into Takeshita. Now we're going for the pillars. It's about 5.
Yeah, there's still a story.
If you count both the pillars, Starks, Danielson, that's like 10 people.
Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, we'll probably discuss this more tomorrow on our Dynamite. Watch
do we still have Heat Lane?
Not really. We're good. Like I said, we're good. We're being civil tonight, Jason.
Yeah.
Civil. If you didn't see his comment, Jason says, "Is there still heat between me and Connor?"
I never knew.
Me and Connor. We'll get in some good debates on here, but it's something personal. Like, if it was personal, I would have flown out and personally RKO'd Connor through a table. But we're good.
Yeah. There might be times that it gets heated, but there's no.
It's
not heat.
It's not like I'm gonna get fired from the podcast or quit the podcast or that kind of thing. So, all right. Well, as we start to wind down, I think we should just give one more moment from WrestleMania, and I think we'll be good to go. So, Adam, what would be your last big WrestleMania moment that you would like to share?
Oh man, 1998, Stone Cold's first world title win against Shawn Michaels.
Yes.
I mean that was the. I mean, you had the start of Austin 316 a year or two before with the whole King of the Ring, and it kind of built to that moment. And he finally won the big one, especially with everything he went through, getting fired over the phone in WCW, and doing all those promos in a few matches in ECW, and then finally coming to WWE back when it was WWF, and finally seeing him win the big one and just go on that huge run of being one of the biggest baby faces in professional wrestling in the late 90s. That moment with Mike Tyson counting the 3.
Yeah.
I mean that was for me a perfect WrestleMania moment.
Then Shawn Michaels getting punched by Mike Tyson.
And you got to remember that was when Shawn Michaels took 4 years off because he hurt his back.
Tyson punched Michaels. Tyson punched Michaels.
Tyson punched Michaels.
Yeah, that was one. I should have put that one on my list. I totally forgot about it. You know what's crazy? Just a little side
No
note.
one has Mae Young on their list.
Nope.
Did she even have a match WrestleMania? I know she appeared at least.
I can't. I think she appeared, but like it wasn't like
Oh,
nothing against the great Mae Young.
She was crushing on Mean Gene Okerlund. One of them.
Something weird. But Adam, just looking at it, like Stone Cold had probably some of the best moments of any wrestler. I feel like he's had more than Cena. I would say he's up there with Michaels and Undertaker. You know, like at least when it comes to memorable moments, especially like at least when it comes to retirement, because this he's kind of really stuck to his word of staying retired.
I mean, he did come back for that one match last year, and that's
true.
probably what it was, But it was good to because I didn't think a lot of that him losing to The Rock at WrestleMania. What was it? 19? It was 19 was his last one with The Rock beating him finally, because The Rock had lost to him 3 straight WrestleManias.
Yeah.
Crazy. He had never. Yeah. So so I think that left a lot of bad taste in people's mouths that was his last match, and they wanted to see him go out a different way. And the fact that someone like Kevin Owens, allowed him to do that, it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Respect, for sure, for Stone Cold. Aiden, what about you? What would be one last one that you'd like to share?
There's a lot of moments that I really enjoy, like going back and watching. I was gonna say the Shawn Michaels retirement, but we kind of touched on that one earlier when we were talking about Ric Flair. And there's 2 that always get me. From Mania 17 when Linda stands up in the Vince vs. Shane match, and then like that match is just stupid fun, but like I enjoyed that a lot. And then, but for me, one of like my favorite, and like it's like a genuinely like emotional moment, is WrestleMania 7 when Miss Elizabeth and Macho Man reunite. That's that is like. Obviously, it was getting closer to the end of their relationship in real life, but on camera, at least, like there's little better.
It was a good story ending. Yeah, I agree. Connor, what about you? What would be your last moment you'd like to share?
I believe I can't remember which WrestleMania it was, but I believe. Can you guys see me? Okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're coming in clear on my end.
I couldn't see you guys there. I can't remember which one it was, but it was when Rey Mysterio, I believe he beat Kurt Angle and became the WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
That was WrestleMania 22.
22. Because I think it was after Eddie passed, and then he won the Royal Rumble. He was like number 1. Like him and Randy Orton, I believe, was number 1, number 2. Then Rey Mysterio had a pretty cool entrance, and then he won the World Heavyweight Champion, which is a pretty good moment.
Yeah. I forgot about Ray winning that title after everything happened with Eddie. I think for me, there's two matches. I think that if you go and just listen, I think when you first listen to that reaction, right? The first one is they're both Rock matches. First one would be Rock versus Hogan. Just the two of the biggest stars in wrestling, two of the biggest personalities, just facing off in the ring. I can't remember how long they were facing off for, but just listening to that crowd, like it's been so long since you had that much energy. Like you can literally close your eyes and just picture that just from the crowd, sound as it was. And then the next time I got that same feeling was the first Rock versus John Cena match.
Dude.
It's supposed to be the once in a lifetime that happened twice.
Yeah.
And kind of going back to what happened with Cody, that was really the only, to see such a heartbreak with Cena at the end of that match, just seeing that heartbreak, because I was a huge Cena guy.
Kind of reminds me of someone this weekend on Sunday.
Cody, yeah. It's just crazy, like to see how that match happened, and then I guess it was so successful they had to do it twice. But I don't know. I'm happy that the second one happened, but I think they should have promoted it as a once in a lifetime. But other than that, I think that was really one of the last big face offs without having to really do any wrestling. And I feel like maybe maybe on Sunday with Cody and Roman, but it just didn't have. I feel like it still didn't have that impact like it had.
So, no, they'll never be able to have like a Rock versus Cena, or maybe Rock and Roman.
Maybe I'd be the only one I could see.
That really electricity in the audience.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for Talking Elite this week. I'd like to thank you guys all for watching. I hope you guys had a great time listening to our recap from what happened this weekend to our favorite WrestleMania moments. It was a really fun show, a lot of great Discord. I also want to say thank you to Connor, Adam, and Aiden. Thank you guys so much for making Talking Elite very special and entertaining each week. You guys seriously are some of the best wrestling podcast minds that are in the business today. So thank you guys again for coming out tonight. We'll be back next week. We are going to have a fun show. I'm going to kind of do a little fantasy booking a little bit, but also kind of a challenge I'm going to challenge you three with. And I'll post the details in our group chat once we get off air. We are going to talk about some of the wrestlers in AEW, WWE, maybe Impact Wrestling, depending on our list, that we think that could benefit by either going to a different company or by stepping out of their comfort zone and how to get them there. So I'll post the guidelines. I'm still working on that. So it's going to be kind of a very fun show next week and have some different ideas and to see kind of what we're all thinking with some of the talents from Jungle Boy to Austin Theory. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Don't forget, check us out tomorrow night for our Dynamite watch along right here on Sun Central Live. Of course, we have conversations throughout the show. We'll talk about the show itself, talk about what's been going on in professional wrestling. There's who knows what's going to happen, tomorrow. Heck, maybe we'll have Stone Cold buy his own wrestling company. Who knows at this point? So, check us out tomorrow for our Dynamite watch along. Don't forget Ring of Honor watch along on Thursday. And then on Friday, we also have our Rampage watch along as well. Connor, do we have anything in the works that are coming up on the channel very shortly?
Hasn't been announced yet, but Shane Taylor, that was supposed to be a month ago, but something came out. We're fixing to have that rescheduled pretty soon.
Oh, cool.
Shane, you don't know who Shane Taylor is, and Devon Dudley, in contacts with him a little bit.
Awesome.
And don't. Oh, damn! I forgot to say this earlier, but there was an interesting person at Supercard of Honor that no one knows, but no one's talking about. That was backstage, and it's not Naomi. Mira was backstage at Supercard of Honor.
Really?
Yeah. A friend of mine that went said that Mira was that they see them go into the building.
Awesome. Well, don't forget to follow us for all news.
I do want to clear this up. Did you guys argue? We didn't argue. I don't feel like we argued.
No, tonight was a good podcast. So
just so everyone knows, there's no heat with anyone on the podcast. No one affiliated with the podcast now, at least.
Yeah.
But there's no drama in the Elite Zone which I don't think.
No, like we're all good. So like I said, we have arguments. That's podcasting for you.
I don't think we have one tonight though.
No, like we're good, all good tonight. Anyway, so check us out on Twitter at All Elite Zone 1. We're gonna post a poll of our top 3 Mania moments and go ahead and vote. Make sure you guys follow us on Spotify, our Podbeam. Like I said, we are growing in numbers. I think we're at 320 right now, trying to get to 500 by the middle of the year. So make sure you guys like, comment, share with your friends. Also, don't forget to share this video, and we'll see you guys next week for Talking Elite.